Hi, besties. I am so glad you're joining. I have my friend Georgio Takounakis of at Georgio Says. You know him, you love him. And I just had so much fun with you the last time we did Vanderpump Rules. I was like, okay, you have to come back on for one of the reunions. And I'm first of all, I just want to say I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for joining me.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be back.
Yes. Okay, I love how we're matching in our pink. It's like
This
so
was
on
not
brand.
planned. It wasn't
Not at all.
planned.
It
It
wasn't, I
really
swear.
wasn't.
Oh my gosh. I was just telling Giorgio friends, if you didn't already see like on my social media, which, I was really lucky and excited. I received an email on it was Monday night. And I saw, hey, we have an opportunity for you to come to an event. And it was like, there's going to be a surprise Bravo celebrity, but it's local to LA. So we worked it out for me to come out there. And I'm thinking, oh my God, if I'm going to LA for 24 hours and it's fucking Jax Taylor at this event, I'm gonna jump out the window. It was Ariana working the drive-through encounter at Raising Cane's out in El Segundo, and it was so much fun. I met so many other great just content creators, and I'm not calling it an influencer event. I refuse to do that. Um, and it was such a blast. I got to meet Lauren of the Zen Blonde, and John, and all the names are not like in front of me. There was Ryan Bailey and Kiki Monique. I mean, I met oh my gosh, gay man with a spray tan. Listen, I love just Meredith Lynch. I suddenly was in front of all these people going, oh my God, I see you online all the time. And, most half of them were like, I have no idea who you are. I'm like, sorry, I know who you are though. Went to a watch party at the Junkyard Dog there in Los Feliz. Wonderful. It was so much fun. It was like a mini BravoCon. I didn't sleep Tuesday night because I booked my flight at like 3 p.m. on Tuesday. Had to leave for the airport at 4:45 a.m. on Wednesday morning. Flew in, literally changed in the airport bathroom, touched up my makeup, ran to an Uber, and drove the 10 minutes from LAX to Raising Cane's. And then the watch party was later that night. So I finally got a night of sleep. It was all worth it.
Wow,
That
I
is all
would
I'm
say
gonna say.
so. I
It
saw
was a
the picture of
blast.
you and Ariana
Oh
on
yeah.
Instagram, and I was like, "What? What are they doing? Why are they?
Like
What? Why are they at Cranes?
you're like, bitch, what? What are you doing?
Like what?"
It was to go get the combo box meal, friends, and I had not had Raising Cane's before that, and it was really good.
I was gonna say, was it good? Was it
It
worth
was good.
it?
It was good. It was good. My favorite place to go get chicken now. Believe that they're in LA. Um,
Love that.
it was delicious. It was yeah. Okay, so there's just one more thing I'm gonna touch on, and you know about this, Giorgio. This
I forgot to ask if maybe. I think I'm thinking about what you're gonna bring up. Okay.
And I'm going to go. This, I'm talking so much. I swear this is not just going to be me ranting. So I'm just gonna say I'm not even gonna mention this person's name because yeah. So we found out through a reliable source that Rachel Leviss is not pregnant. And I made a video about it. And there was a person who had been saying who wasn't very nice to me about my questioning the legitimacy of it, which here's the thing. This is why I'm not going to be your, oh my gosh, breaking Bravo news unless you're not going to necessarily hear things from me first, because I am going to wait for a reliable news source. And because I don't have the time to do like my due diligence and act like a journalist and do all of that and it scares me. I'm a scaredy cat. Okay. That's what it is. Because also I hate being wrong, and I would have hated to be wrong about something that I put out there like that. So and do you really want to be the person like outing a pregnancy if that's the case? That's number one. Number two, we can't do things in that way where it's like, oh, it's so anonymous that and I know you receive messages like this all the time. And you don't just go posting anything and everything you get. You make sure it's legitimate. And I mean, I've seen you do the work.
I mean, I do my due diligence as best as I can, and if at that point, if it still doesn't feel like this is enough, then I will not. I mean,
It's
there's
not
been
worth it.
stuff. Yeah, no, because honestly, like I have integrity or try to in everything that I break, and I don't break a lot of stuff. I kind of go with the flow of the news cycle,
Yeah,
but when I do, it's because I'm sure, like with the
exactly.
Robin Dixon and Juan
Yes.
situation, that was a situation where I was like, sure,
Hmm.
but you know, there's a lot of stuff that gets circulated that are rumors. Like the pregnancy thing was going on for a week and a half
Well,
strong. I mean,
and it
people's
started even earlier.
theories,
Yeah.
yeah, people's theories on it were really deep down the rabbit hole, and I was just like, I don't know where they're getting, but you know what it is too? The power of photoshopping like DMs that are
That's it.
anonymous to prove the narrative that you're trying to make because that's
Patrick
what
Summers.
you think exactly. And I've seen that a lot where it's like, oh, I saw her at the market and she didn't buy cigarettes this time.
Well, maybe she's trying to, I don't know,
Maybe
finally
she's
make a healthy choice in her life. I don't know.
Or she's good on the cigs. She just
Yeah,
bought a pack the last time. I mean, not everybody smokes a pack a day.
exactly. That's that. That's for sure. And yeah, and people were really coming for me saying, "Oh, well, there are plenty of women who smoke and vape during their pregnancy," and because that was one of the, I know it's like, guys, okay, it's, I mean, but she's not the smartest, so whatever. Here's my biggest point with this, and it's less about Rachel and defending whatever privacy she has, because there's also something else that came out today. But it is a dangerous time in the United States for a woman to be pregnant if she doesn't want to be. And to put that on blast, Rachel is a deplorable, despicable human being, but she still has a right to her own body. And if she were pregnant and wanted to make a choice about that, and you were outing her pregnancy, if she was hiding out in Arizona, I do believe Arizona is a Republican state. So what would happen if she were to try and take care of things, go camping, as I like to call it, and you have outed this pregnancy? Do you, because this leads to the next thing that I had literally said last night on a panel I did with my friend Martinis with Eddie and the girls from Bravo Breaking News and Candy Washington, is that can you imagine the death threats she would receive from these specific types of people who are out there not understanding that women do have a right to their own body? Well, guess what? She did start receiving death threats to the point where I guess her family contacted the FBI. Now, I guess like one of the death threats was, I'm going to unalive you and dump the body. Please tell me you're a Gen Zer without telling me you're a Gen Zer. That's number one with the unalive. Guys, we can hate someone without trying to say we're going to kill them. Like, let's rein it in.
Can we, like, for a second though, because this happens quite often with
Sure does.
it's there's a real problem out here to the point where I'm starting to have to put filters on specific words, specifically on TikTok, because people are wild sometimes and they say things that I'm like, yo, I don't understand. Like, I really, it's not that deep. Like, honestly, like, listen, have I poked fun at Rachel Raquel, called her out for the behavior that she's displayed? Not gone
1000%.
looking for her parents' address in Tucson to
Thank you.
then, you know, oh, let me call the market that she's nearby and see, hey, is Rachel coming in there? Is she buying cigarettes? Is she still buying cigarettes? Like, that to
What
me
the?
is weird,
Yeah.
stalkery. Like, but again, I think a lot of it was just made up off of a conspiracy, and people make up these fake, like I said, DMs where they say, oh, look, it's anonymous, but it feeds in the narrative that I'm trying to sell you, which, yeah, they're going to say she's pregnant. Do you really think, first of all, that's not what this whole thing at the reunion's going to be about?
Right, I agree, and that was also what I was saying, because a lot of people were piggybacking off of the interview that Alex Baskin did with Variety, right?
Yeah,
And yes, he
yeah.
says that something is going to be revealed, that everyone's going to need to take a pause. I personally, I've been saying I think it's the timeline, or there's something more that they were doing, that like to hide things from Ariana, and that they were, more people might have been complicit in it. It's something I believe along those lines, where people are like looking at more than just Sandoval, Schwartz, and Rachel with a side eye. And right now we're looking at Lisa with a side eye because this was, yeah.
But you know what, though? To be fair to Lisa, I feel like she's in a tough spot because, although she doesn't employ these people like she did at the very beginning of the show, she's in business with them because she's a producer on the show. So she has to kind of ride the wave both sides, which I think it was clear that Ariana has a problem with that. But she can't. She knows that she can't actually have a problem with that because she understands business-wise. That's the way it goes, baby. But at the same time, I think, her jumping in on Lala's...
Thank you.
I mean, that was a little odd. She should have let Lala say her piece. Now, I will say I feel like Lala was projecting a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
But,
yeah, I mean...
let's be clear. This is not just about the cheating. This is about... This is what people are missing about what's the big deal? They all done it. True. I'm not taking that away from anybody, and I'm glad Andy was able to point that out and be like, all right, guys, don't get too high on your high horse because you all have made a mistake. This is not the same because we're talking about 7 months, if not more, of people close to you, one of them being the person you sleep next to, who you still are going and having fun times with. But at that same time, they are literally going and meeting up with your best friend who is in your face, seemingly like enamored by you and loves the fact that you are in her life. But at the same time, she's banging your partner.
Yeah, I mean...
That's twisted. That's twisted. You know why? Because I don't know about you and me. I'm not saying I would never make a mistake, but a mistake is a mistake. A pattern of getting up every day and telling yourself, how am I going to lie so I can go over here and see the other person that's really close to her without us getting caught right now because it's not convenient.
It was multiple decisions. A mistake is typically one decision that causes a consequence reaction.
Yes.
Those were decisions. And that you're right. It's very, very clear. There's a clear line between these. I mean, it's not the same. And yes, I do appreciate Andy pointed that out because I think Andy is really trying to learn from the collective voices, I'll say, of how everyone's feeling about how he treats people at reunions, how he doesn't dig in, Potomac and the colorism talk. He tried, but they needed more from that. And I think he's really trying to learn and do his best. I do see a huge difference in him in the way he's handling these people in particular, especially since he's become a father. He has a lot more patience. I was going to say compassion, but I'm going to call it more patience. Which, why don't we just dive into it? Y'all, I don't even know how many pages of notes these are. I say this every week, but it just gets more and more neurotic.
First of all, before we jump in, I need to point out Caitlin has literally the full transcript of the episode, you guys, and she had the nerve to be like, I feel like I missed some things, but we'll just wing it. And I'm like, if you could see this, like, it literally is a prompter, like ready for a prompter for like a reread of like exactly what happened, word for word.
Listen, I did have the subtitles on, and you know what?
I love it.
Color coded by character, because sometimes it's just like, see now, because I have one of those type of brains that I can edit really, I can skim through text really fast. Why I wasn't this good with that in school, I don't know. Don't ask me. But see, now I already see one of the colors off, and I am going to fix it in my thing very quick before I lose my shit. Am I getting OCD? Maybe. Okay. Well, this is something, and I can't take full credit for this idea here because on the panel I did last night, the girls, Kim, I believe it was Lisa from Breaking Bravo News, she pointed out something really fantastic that I was like, oh, this is brilliant. So we've never done individual sit-downs, obviously, before a reunion. Well, I thought of it in a different way than this, and now my brain is totally turned. Basically, it was as if there was an interrogation and they were separating all the suspects, and that way they could go ahead and say what their story was individually, and then when they all came together, we would find out what the truth was and who told the lie. So basically, Sandoval and Rachel, see, call her Rachel, Caitlin, she's not that. Anyway, whatever timeline, especially when Schwartz eventually ends up saying, yeah, you told me in August, and that whole spiel. So I found it very interesting. You know what I'm saying? Like, just imagining them at the, I don't know, with detectives at some police headquarters. It's very Law and Order. Bom, bom. So Andy tells Tom, I think you're the most hated man on TV. He's just like, yeah, oh. And we go through, you know, how Ariana's trying to just not run into him, and Tom's sleeping in the guest bedroom. At least gosh, that's the least you could do, Sandoval. Then we get to Rachel and Andy sitting down. Georgio, her outfit.
First of all, this is not court. You are not coming in for a DUI hearing. This is a reality show reunion. You might as well put on a sick ass dress if you're going to have to go through all of this. At this point, you should have gotten a custom bodycon, like,
go to Mugler, do something,
yeah. Why not? Why not? You already are basically like, I literally don't give a crap. But I'm gonna put on a blazer, and I'm gonna do the beach wave in my bob, and
your jewelry. Bitch, you were wearing an outfit you were wearing a gothic looking corset top with what was supposed to be a thong hanging out on what was was that the original finale? Yeah. I mean, and then you're going to show up like this? Honey, we aren't that stupid. We are Bravo fans. We are crazy. We read into everything. We're worse than Swifties, okay? Period.
There's no point in paying for these crisis PR firms because it's the same formula, and we can see through it. We saw through it with her messaging and the statements and the this and the that, and now it's clear someone said, you know, if you're gonna have to sit down with him and you want to be taken seriously, you need to dress like the part. So here's a blazer. And she's like, oh my God, you're so right. I feel more secure in my story that Tom told me to say.
And the color. She is really sticking with green, but that green, it was like a sage, like a bridesmaid's dress. Like, what are you doing? And someone last night in the comment section of the panel called it pageant casual, and I could not agree more.
No, it really is. She comes from that pageant life. So when that is on brand for her, not the blazer. The blazer throws me off because, well,
and
also
the top was black.
But Tom didn't seem like he knew what the assignment was. He just came dressed in his, like, I'm going to Whole Foods after this.
They were, all three of them were going to completely different events. Like, yeah, Ariana.
Anna was like,
yep.
Who?
Chef's kiss.
She's literally like, I don't even know. She's at the next level of the video
glow.
Game. You know what I mean?
She has the glow. Glowing. And Rachel says, I don't know. I'm just preparing for the worst and hoping for the best. So this text, and this is, you and I were just talking about this, how now, if y'all are going to be expecting any of us to want to watch a reunion that is not going to be the uncensored version, no, we're not doing it.
I'm being honest with you. They're gonna shoot themselves in the foot if they don't continue this as a thing. This cannot be just for this.
No, yeah, can't do that. No, yeah, and so then I guess Rachel sent Ariana her text, and she said, you can see where Ariana from that night said, "You are all caps dead to me." And Rachel waits 48 hours and says, Ariana, I don't know what to say right now because I really, Besides, I really fucked up, and I'm so, so, so sorry. Shut the fuck up, you fucking rat. Yes, Ariana. Blocked her immediately. I wonder if Rachel was sitting there like Googling, if you sleep with your best friend's man for 7 months, how many times should you say so in front of sorry? That's why it took her 48 hours. So, Andy's asking Sandoval when they hooked up, right? Like when he realized he had feelings. And Sandoval was saying, like, last year, beginning of the year, he started seeing, Raquel and got to know who she really was. And it was at the guys' night, the very next See You Next Tuesday. They were filming, and this was 5 days later. And we weren't filming, and we went to the Abbey. Which, why would you take a mistress to the Abbey? If I were going to do that, I would never take them right to the Abbey 4 doors down from Sir. And it was that night they had sex. Allie knew. Allie.
Listen, it's an intuition thing. You know why? Because although I'm not as comfortable as they are with, like, how close they are with people's partners and whatever.
No.
But I do understand that people can be friends with people, and yes, you can be out and have fun, but there's an energy there's something that she saw that wasn't just the dancing in the dark corner. There was like a intimate, like a sexual energy, if you will, at that point, because you literally went back and had sex right after you left the Abbey.
Exactly. The thing is, people think they're so slight. No, it is something so simple as all you need to see is someone look at another person with their eyes and kind of give a little up and down and a smile, and that's it. And it doesn't even have to be a teeth smile. It can be something so simple. People don't realize how much your body language will give you away in a heartbeat. I'm not going to tell people how to lie better.
This is a good example, like when you're at a bar.
Mm-hmm.
This is a really good way to, like, if you're out with your partner or boyfriend, right? And let's say I'm with my partner and there's someone next to me and they look over, we seemingly make eye contact, and they smile at me. I'm not going to be a dick and be like, why are you smiling at me? I have a boyfriend. Like, I'm not, you know what I mean? Because some people are like that. They're like, hello.
My man better be doing that. If I had one.
There's the moment where you're just kind of like, you smile back. But there's also the smile back of like.
Yeah, there's the smile back.
There's the there's like the hill.
Away and back.
The hills shrug. I call it the hills shrug.
That's something like, even, I don't know, this was a little trick I learned a long time ago. If you're wondering if this is so off subject, sort of. If you're out and you're like, there's someone across the bar or something, this is for my single friends, and you're wondering if they're actually like paying attention to you or not, it doesn't matter if you're wearing a watch. Doesn't matter. Pretend to check the time. Just like look down at your wrist, kind of just give it like a thoughtful, like, oh, I wonder what the time is. And if they try and check the time, that means they're paying attention to you. They'll do the same thing.
What?
It's like yawning reaction. If someone's like, "Oh, what time it is?" What time it is? What time it is?
What time is
it? Yeah, right. If someone's like, "What time is it?" you automatically start looking for a clock. So it's just habit, and you start wondering.
Wait, are you supposed to say it, or you just do it?
Someone could be completely across the room.
So you're not talking.
No, you could wonder, are they paying attention to me? Now, you have to make sure that you do it when you believe that they are looking your direction. And you have to give it like a good, don't overreact, but just kind of, you could be, oh, nails, and then, oh, and kind of give even like a thoughtful, I wonder what time it is type of look on your face, and look down at your wrist, or, okay. And that's what, you're not paying attention if I have a watch or not. But you're going to be like, oh, yeah, I wonder what time it is. If you like,
wow.
Like that. I know, it's weird. It works. I swear. It's so weird. It's so weird. Anyway, there you go. So yeah, body language gives away everything.
Totally.
So then Andy's asking, when y'all went to glamping, for her birthday, were you two together? And this narrative here. No, we had that like first time, and then we like took a break. And it picked back up, I guess, after they went to Life is Beautiful. I'm not totally sure what Life is Beautiful is. I keep getting the timeline is slightly confusing to me, but they said this was in September 2022. And he's saying that that was after he rapped, and we get that disgusting video of her on his shoulders because it's just like, that's me retching. And Andy points out, you had that concert, and I'm standing in front, and Ariana's there, Rachel's there, and when you're standing on stage, you see your girlfriend and your mistress next to each other. What are you thinking? And he's like, did it like get you off? And this is where Sandoval acts as though he actually has moral boundaries. Oh my God, what a terrible thought. Like, no, my God, no.
No. No, my God, no.
How could you go there, Andy?
Now you're really crossing the line, Andy.
I mean, have you no shame? It's just like, bro. Okay. This did crack me up too. I mean, I'm trying not to like dissect every little thing, but it's a little hard. And Andy's kind of asking Ariana, like, are there looking back situations? Like, how did I miss this? And Ariana's like, well, of course, more so with her than him because we all know men are trash. And she's like, no offense. And yeah, I mean, I have not had a single, and I'm going to preface this for a specific reason. Every single gay man has been like, no, I co-sign that men are trash.
I absolutely co-sign on that.
Right? Because straight men, you don't know what it's like to date you. So yes, you don't know how much trash you are.
Well, to be fair, there's some gay trash men.
Oh yeah, no, I'm
well.
saying that's.
But
I'm
yes,
saying, like,
in that
men,
sphere,
men
yes,
don't know what
I
it's
agree.
like to date a man. Then they don't know what it's. That's what I'm saying. Y'all know what it's like to date a man. I'm men in general. It's the straight men who don't know what it's like to date a man.
No, and the other thing that became clear as well was Tom has not matured emotionally whatsoever.
Not at all.
Whatsoever.
The way he does not get it, and it's like we've seen the clips all cut together on social media quite a few times, but like when they go ahead and do it at the reunion, I mean, they've got the archive footage we haven't seen. They've got all of it, and it's just so like, and Ariana's just basically saying like she couldn't imagine like one of her closest girlfriends doing this. Now this, Georgio, what? Sandoval says here, I cannot. Sandoval says to Andy after he's like, okay, well, how did this come to cheating, right? With one of your closest friends on your partner of 9 years. Man, Andy, like, Ariana and I kept our relationship pretty private for many years. We had issues. I felt like I was her gay BFF.
You know what? Let me tell you something. So everyone's been in a situation where they've been cheated on, right?
Yes, sir.
There's also been people that have been cheated on that it's not just a one-off. It has been going on for a while. Mm-hmm. And whether you know the other person or not, the stories always are the same from the guys. It's as if they went to some Reddit thread and was like, here are all the different answers you can have if you get busted having an affair or cheating on your spouse, partner, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever. And it's like these things that he's pulling out about, instead of just saying, you know what, I was being selfish. I haven't even heard that come out of his mouth, I don't think. Did he say it in the Howie Mandel?
No.
I don't think he said selfish. Maybe he did. Correct. I'm sure someone will correct us if we are wrong.
No, I never heard it,
but if he did, it's not been said enough where it's been clear that he understands the accountability he hasn't taken. And this is why people are so mad. Mm-hmm. It's not, and it's other stuff too, but the narcissistic behavior, man, I would pay a good amount of money to see that just raw footage from the finale episode.
Yeah, because we might get it. I wonder if they'll.
The secrets revealed, I think, is coming. So
That's,
they'll
I was
probably.
Gonna say, I feel like they might have said something about it, but I didn't want to be like putting something out there that wasn't accurate, but I feel like there's something possibly. Yeah, because it just to your point that there is a full-on playbook that he specifically has. Now, if there were cameras on me and they could replay my life script, then I'm sure there are things I say over and over. But Sandoval, there are other people on this cast that have the cameras there that don't repeat things like just ad nauseum the same way he does. There was a specific thing that I noticed later on in the episode of the reunion, I should say. Do you hear that Schwartz and Sandoval both use the word scapegoat repeatedly? Not a single other person uses it. That is the only word. So they were rehearsing. And Ari, I don't know if you listened to the Call Her Daddy podcast, which I'm either going to come back after we're done recording and cover that some, or I'll do a whole other episode. We'll see. Time is not something I have bounties of. So, now where was I going with that? Oh yeah, Ariana said that they would rehearse things out before filming because they wanted to be on the same page. And when you, at the time, I would imagine it's like, oh, my partner, I want to be on the same page as my partner. And it depends on what it was, but you know, I mean, you have a partner. When I had a partner, it wouldn't have seemed crazy at the time to me to do something like that.
No, not at all.
Because you don't want to, you want to be
First of
respectful
all,
on camera.
If you, first of all, people need to also understand, and I'm not angry, I'm just like really passionate about this because I think people don't understand the difference of, yes, it's a reality show, but people are still entitled to keep portions of their life private. This is purely for entertainment. There is no need for you to know what's going on with me financially unless it's something that, now this is where I agree, like, fair game if it's in the news, if it's on blogs, and it's something that someone can bring up, that's fine. But if you go on a show like that with your husband or your partner or whatever, you are absolutely having conversations before the cameras show up to say, okay, what are we not going to talk about? So we both know. And sometimes, and I really appreciate Christine Quinn for this, she did an interview recently where she explained, like, at the beginning, everyone was good with the understanding of what their role was going to be on the show. Yeah. No one took it personal. No one, like, we would call each other and say, I'm going to have a go at you today. Don't, just know it's for it's their job. So when you say, okay, Ariana, like, no, you can't go through this by yourself as much as she probably wanted to. They had a 2-hour conversation and all they gave us was, that 2 or 3 minute edit. Yeah. But imagine the amount, because she even said when she was doing her little press tour that he was mad at her. Yeah. Yeah. And he took her phone, bro. Like, why are you taking her phone?
She said he took her phone because when she was mad, like in the moment, in the moment, she said, well, I'm going to tweet this out. Yeah. And so, listen.
I would have gone live on every platform while I ran down the street.
Georgio, I would subscribe to that. Listen, I'd be like,
I'd
be like,
you know what? She's better than me. She's way better than me. I would have burned the whole place down.
Well, you've seen how I react whenever someone gets real nasty to me. I have screenshots and I share them. You have to be really low down and dirty for me to do something like that, but I only share them with my friends. Don't worry.
I have to share a really funny story before we move on because I won't say the person's name, but there's a Bravo celebrity who DM'd me at one point and it was in vanish mode. And I had never done anything in vanish mode before.
I haven't either. I don't know how to use it.
So I was screenshotting because I screenshot everything.
It's wise.
Because of the nature of what we do, it just comes naturally. I'm like, oh, this might come up later.
It's not to be deceitful or,
No.
It's for self-protection. That's it.
Totally. But I didn't realize it says in the app, like it says in vanish mode when you do that. And this person was like, I can screenshot too. And I was like, no, I don't mean it that way, but I don't really trust people. And
Oh, I didn't even.
but
So it's like Snapchat.
It was,
See,
it was like, it is because as soon as you see it, it's gone. It disappears. So that's why, but it ended up being a funny thing. So we like obviously moved on from it, but like, it was just a funny moment because I was like, oh my God, I didn't even know that like it's so nosy like that. Like it would be like Giorgio just screenshotted.
I wonder if you were like screen recording if it tell them.
Yes, it does. It tells you everything under the time above where the message is. It'll say Giorgio screenshotted, Giorgio screen, and the amount of times. Not just letting them know they did it. It's every time because I did it a few times before I realized because this person was like, "Are you screenshotting this?" And I was like, "How the fuck do you know?"
So
and
you're
like,
telling me I need to get a second way to record on a camera when? Oh my God, you guys, that's okay. Don't worry, I don't have Bravo Loves doing that.
It's not a lot of people that do that, and I completely understand why somebody of that stature would do that because people manipulate things and whatnot. But it was a funny moment for both of us actually because I was like, "What the hell's going on?"
I'm gonna have to ask you later who that was because that's hysterical, and I like that it ended up being funny for both of you. That's like the best part of it.
Yeah, no, it was. It was. At first, I was like, "Oh." But moving on.
Yes.
Where were we, by the way? Where are we in the scheme of this?
Don't worry about it. I'm on it. I know. It's easy to get lost in all of this. Because Sandoval ends up speaking on how he told a producer about how he was having issues about how they weren't sharing everything. And this was one of those never before seen. First of all, we are not stupid. Again, what do y'all think this is? Do you really think this is not you lying about going to a party to your parents when you were staying the night, saying you were staying the night at your friend's house? We are much smarter than you two are, clearly, because he was setting that up so that they could use that later on whenever they were going to follow through with their stupid little fucking plan. And friends, I know, listen, I've been dropping F-bombs a lot more on recent coverage of this, but if they're using the word, so guess what? I'm going to. Just put the headphones in and don't play it in the car with your kids. There you go. Put the disclaimer down there.
There was, that was just sealing the deal for me for that narrative, that plan that she spoke about on Call Her Daddy. Because why would you care all of a sudden? Because let's be honest, he's the one that's more concerned about his public image and things more than she is. She just didn't want to make him look dumb or wrong, which anybody would do that for their partner on camera. I would be the same way if I'm on the show with my partner and one of my castmates is coming up and questioning when my partner should have left a party. You're absolutely right. I'm going to go ham on production and cast because I'm going to be like, what are you doing? But unfortunately, in this situation, there was too many Easter eggs laying around. And I think and this is for everybody who thinks this was put on by production. That is not the way they would have gone about this if this is in fact how they would have done it. They wouldn't have. Yeah.
I'll tell you, I did get to meet someone who, when was this? It wasn't last night, the night before last. I feel like I was gone for 3 weeks. It's been a weird week. That was an editor on Vanderpump Rules. Now, I didn't get to speak with them like directly, so I don't want to make it sound like I had this direct conversation, but it was at the table relayed to me that genuinely production did not know. And this is someone who was editing the footage, friends. Okay. I can assure you, from what I understand, they did not know. They could only go off of the suspicions that were being brought directly to them. That's the way it works. Okay. And yeah, basically Ariana and Andy are kind of just talking about how, you know, Sandoval's been coaching Rachel and, you know, she's kind of in the phase of indifference, which is, you know, it's when someone's angry, you feel like they still care about you. But once they reach indifference, woo-wee, buddy, that is when it hurts a lot. And we start seeing again, Sandoval's acting. Like, listen, buddy, I know some great acting coaches in Los Angeles. If you really wanted to like work on your craft, you know, you can go to Uta Hagen. You can, oh gosh, what's her name? That I just forgot her name. Yeah, the one who, interesting name. You could do Chubbuck. Yeah, Ivana. Go see Ivana Chubbuck. Okay, get a private from her. Because Andy's just kind of like, you know, how do you feel about seeing everyone together at the reunion? And yeah, I'm nervous, and scared, but I'm ready to face it. How many times do you see real tears come out of his eyes? That's another thing,
Never.
Sandoval. You need to hydrate if you're going to try and fake cry, because if you're not feeling the emotion and you're already dehydrated, you should have laid off the booze the night before. You need to
This
be
is
extremely hydrated.
why. This is why when he had his little hyperventilating session at Lisa Vanderpump's house.
Yes, sir.
The only reason why he did that is because he realized that she was like, no, this is absolutely disgusting. I don't feel bad for you. And he's like, oh, my fake crying's not working. And it's just like, you know what? First of all, don't get all emotional now, bro. You've been moving around like a cool cucumber doing this for God only knows. And the theory that I heard last, which if that were the case would make sense, that there was a plan from so this is what I think there's more when they say more on that later.
Yeah.
I think because I don't remember the creator on TikTok, but they had said that they think the theory is that when Rachel and James got engaged, it had started then. And the plan was Tom, and this would make sense because remember, Tom was trying to set up this narrative. He's not happy with Ariana. There's like, whoa, I don't want to hide anything. So the claim was that Rachel, is coming off indifferent because she's been waiting on the sidelines for a long time. And she's finally being like, I don't care. I'm tired. You said you were going to leave her. I broke off my engagement with James. Now, because you can tell when he comes to her apartment, if you can remember, she's exhausted. Not so much by the antics of the media and everyone being pissed, but it's also like it looks now like somebody who's been waiting for a while, and that's why I think she questioned him on the couch about, well, how do I know you're not going to do this to me?
That's a fair point. And I think it's entirely possible. And you know, I saw that theory too, and your point about how she looked when he came to her apartment. That's a very good point. You know, and just another thing that just came, you know, the fact that on top of that, Sandoval's high horse is that they weren't sharing enough with the group and with the show. I'm sorry, you were hiding the biggest lie of all goddamn time this whole time, that you weren't sharing with anyone. So the only thing that you felt wasn't being shared enough is the times you thought Ariana was wrong.
No, what he's trying to say is you've only geared the edits to make it look like Ariana's putting me in check or she's annoyed with me. Because to be quite frank, Ariana's shared a lot of vulnerable things while being with Tom. She's talked about her body image issues, how she was treated in her last relationship, which makes her not feel
depression.
Yes, all of that stuff. But also, she had her dog die when she realizes this is when this, I guess, started on camera. That's what I'm saying. What is wrong with you? That was with her
for like 17 years, I want to say. Like that
what is wrong with you?
Is her constant. Yeah.
Who would be able to wake up knowing that information and still go and screw that person's partner?
Yeah, it's diabolical.
And then what do you talk about? Oh, are you going to go to the vet with her then? Okay.
Oh my God, can you imagine?
Okay.
Oh.
Okay.
Probably rolling her eyes like she was in her trailer. If I saw that bitch roll her eyes one more time, that made me dizzy. That's probably why she's so dumb. She's dizzy from rolling her eyes all the goddamn time.
I think
Dizzy
that's
bitch.
that's an act. That girl is
Snake.
she is a fake vapor. Like she looks like a tomboy. She's like a, you know what she's like? She's like that girl in high school that hung out with a lot of guys.
Oh, she's
but
the pick-me
not
girl.
because she's not so much because she's a tomboy,
No.
but because she was cool enough like that, she would just go off their lead. And whatever they wanted, she would be in the moment, which is why I think she has an identity crisis in the situation. Because it's
Yeah.
like,
She's a
you went from
pick-me.
pageant girl to jumping around at this cover band show, like you're in the pick. Like it's one of those. Like, oh, you like basketball? I also now like basketball.
Oh my God, I'm like, ugh, basketball, that's, yeah, like
We all have-
LeBron James is the best.
We've all known someone who does that. They switch it up
Oh, yeah.
immediately. The way
Oh,
they
yeah.
dress, how they talk, what they talk about. And then you meet their boyfriend, you're like, oh, I get it.
Yeah. So, okay, people start trickling onto the set. Oh, man. So Schwartz gets on set first and he's like, selfie? And Andy says, I just want to know one thing from you. Were you silent or were you silenced? Both. It's a fucked situation, Andy. Yeah, no shit. So LVP comes on after people are trickling in. I love each and every one of you. Remember, the truth is gonna come out. No shit, LVP.
She is funny.
So Ariana comes in, Sandoval's last, and they're like, yeah, you're looking like Princess Di in that revenge dress. And Ariana sees Sandoval and she goes, well, he looks like shit. Yes, ma'am. How do I approach this? I'm just going to say Schwartz and Sandoval went on opposite ends of the spectrum on how they dealt with the stress. I'm physically, that's it. That's all I'm saying. Because I don't like saying, So Andy says, Raquel's not there because she's not legally allowed to be in the same room as Sheena due to the TRO, the restraining order that she filed. And this, I love our editors because, the shadiness of Rachel's trailer with the Chiron, Raquel's trailer, 100 yards away from Sheena. And we see this bitch is watching on some of my notes, by the way, I was on the airplane, so it's a little weird. Watching on a TV in her trailer. And, when asked how she's feeling, Lisa says that she doesn't usually like reunions, but it's much needed. Well, yeah. Lisa, some of this, I don't know. She was not on her game. It was weird.
No, she was totally I think she wasn't sure what to expect, honestly.
Fair. That's fair.
This
love
is
Lisa, by
like
the way.
an intense situation to be in.
Mm-hmm.
The much needed part is no, sweetie, we have to do these anyway. It's just this one's a little bit different because no one cares about all the other storylines, right?
Not one bit.
No one cares about the Katie and Tom Schwartz and
No.
and poor Sheena. Yeah, we don't care about touching about your wedding.
Sorry,
honestly,
baby.
wrong season, wrong timing for you to
Yeah.
do that. Unfortunately, thank Rachel, I guess,
Yeah. Thank her for all of it.
and Tom.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing too. I'm going to touch on that here later on. So Andy's, asking, is this the first time you've seen everyone since news broke? And Sandoval's like, yes, and Andy's like, how are you feeling? I'm all over the place, to be honest. Again, it's pointed out that Katie and Schwartz aren't sitting together. And the way Schwartz was looking, listen, y'all, I'm going to say this too. James, I have never loved you more. I am shocked. I'm saying every week I end up appreciating James more and more. And I was watching this for a third time on the airplane and I could barely keep my shit together. I was laughing so hard rewatching him in this reunion. He was hysterical. While also, yes, his emotions were real, justified, and true. Because James leans over to Lala and he's like, didn't cross his mind, didn't it? Nope, didn't even think of it. And they're just cracking up because Schwartz is like, oh yeah, I guess I'm sad. So then sorry, got a little lost there. Then when Andy asks James, gosh, how does it feel about being the number one guy in the group now? And James, well, it's not hard to compete when I'm working with Schwartz and with Sandoval and a clown. And every, it crack up, right? So we're seeing all the flashbacks of, of Allie calling out the stuff about the Abbey, and then Ken mentioning Rachel staying the night at Sandoval's when Ariana's not in town. And I swear to God, Rachel is sitting in her trailer watching this with like her hand on her chin, like she's watching a Jonas Brothers concert or something. She's just like, her eyes and everything. I mean, the reason they didn't show her saying anything is because that vapid air between the ears, she probably wasn't saying a goddamn thing in there.
I wonder if she was, and they're purposefully cutting it out because they want to probably show us. They might go back and forth to her reactions in the trailer because there's no way she's sitting through all of that watching it and not reacting and saying stuff unless she and Tom were very much like, because he was probably like, you need to stick to this story and like that's it, because if you don't, this will like screw. And God bless her. I wouldn't trust her with being able to do that.
No, not at all. Not at all. And that's fair. Yeah. Okay. It's just, so Andy asks Sandoval, is there anything you want to say to Ariana or the group at large? Here come the waterworks again. And this whole thing starts devolving, and it is, I mean, I don't know how you can hang a piece of television in the Louvre, but let's do it. Because he starts the waterworks again, and he's like, I just want to thank everybody for pull yourself together, man. You're not a victim. Lala's, you're not at the Oscar. I mean, they're all at the same time just going. Ariana knocking off the sad sack act. It's bullshit. And it's just, you're not at the Academy Awards. You're not at a fucking audition. And so, yes, we do. As much as I don't believe he deserves it, really, we do have to let him speak if we're going to get anything here, right? And James starts mocking him, crying like, LVP's like, James, stop it. Be a man. Pull yourself together.
She's so BS. She loved every minute of it.
Oh, she sure did. She went and instead of giving James the little spanking at lunchtime, she went and gave him a little pat. She said, yes, good boy. So this is when Sandoval says, I just want to say I appreciate everyone being there for Ariana, no matter what was going on in our relationship. Again, putting that shit in there, trying to keep pushing that narrative. She didn't deserve it. Nobody deserves to have that happen. Nothing happened. You did it. Thank you.
Exactly. That saying it that way frames it like I don't even know. Like slip. Raquel, he was driving and Raquel like ran out of the woods and like smashed onto his like windshield, and he was like, well,
wait a minute. The visual of that. First of all, the visual of the deer, or I mean, we could call her the mosquito, but the deer.
Bambi.
Yeah. Just
Bambi-eyed bee.
Running through. And then, oh my God, is that a car? And just sprawled out. Oh,
but you know what it is,
guess we have to have sex now.
For her, I think she got caught up in being the in girl on the show now. And I think it got lost on her, unfortunately. And she's young still. They both are. I think Tom and Rachel are emotionally the same age.
Oh, okay. I thought we were talking about their actual age. Yeah. Tom.
No.
Absolutely...
He's older than her, obviously, but like emotionally, they're both 13.
Well, it's interesting. He keeps saying he turned 40, and we hear James repeatedly saying he's 42, which I had heard he was 42.
I did too, but
yeah. And yes, Rachel. Okay, she's young. We've all been 28 years old. I got married the next year after I was 28, and no. I have no. Yes, there is youth, but the emotional and mental age that you're referring to. Yeah, they're both about I'm going to call it 17, thinking they're adults when they're not. Inside.
Yeah, for sure. And also the not having any accountability.
Oh my God. Yeah, and Sandoval ends up saying, like, I'm sorry for doing the one thing I said I wouldn't do, and I did it in the worst way possible. And I was annoyed that they did this, but they cut to Rachel watching and just chilling out like nothing's happening. And they didn't keep the camera on her for when he said, I love you and I apologize. And, Lala and James still giving him, like, meh, 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 meh. I love this team. Love it. Used to hate that team. That team used to just infuriate me when they would get on their body shaming things and stuff like that. Who knew? And James sitting next to Katie if you had told me this like 6 years ago.
This is why this is the beauty of reality TV, because alliances do shift based on what happens. And that's why for anyone who watches it, and you see this happen throughout the history of reality TV, when there's an ensemble cast, whether it's a group of friends or castmates, whatever, the alliances always end up shifting at some point.
Yeah. I mean, it just, in the way it shifted, because I don't know if it's that I find it heartwarming in the most odd way. Like, what a weird word to use. But it does feel like it fits in there, because James eventually stands up for Katie in the way that Schwartz never would. He has Katie's back. James Kennedy has Katie's back in the way that her partner, husband for 12 years never once did. And it was just so lovely to see, because and now I know I mistakenly did say on the last time you joined me here that I thought you were a Katie stan too. I'm going to say fan, because stan, I think the stans are psychos.
I'm not a stan.
Yeah,
but
I want to reuse the word. I like to use stan more so for the psychos. We're gonna reframe how I'm saying this. I wouldn't say you're a stan for anyone. And I shouldn't say that you're necessarily a Katie fan, but I think you understand a lot of the specific points she makes. Not all of them, but from what I understood last time that we spoke. No. Wrong.
No, I do. I think the audience is really hard on Katie, because unfortunately the version of Katie that we got was Katie was dealing with a child, essentially. And listen, how many times have you ever seen someone seemingly looking like they're going nuts or they're a crazy bitch, but the guy's all seemingly calm, like he's confused. I don't understand what's going on here.
In the mirror, I have. Yes, sir. Yeah.
And it's just this moment of, and the person going crazy has lost it, because they have nothing else they can't do anything else at this point, because they've been driven in circles emotionally, mentally. And that's where Katie was for most of her relationship with Schwartz. So you know what? Am I her fan? Am I going to like flip out over everything she does and says? No. But I don't think it's fair that everyone's like, oh, I hate her. She's such a bully. Well, she was with a crappy dude for a long time. It probably made her a little bitter. It probably made her a little jaded. It probably made her a little pissy at any little young girl that was new to the show. Because it's like, oh, another whore for Schwartz to try to make out with and disrespect me, and another person he'll stand up for and not me. You know what I mean? Like, yes. She went through that the entirety of this show. And I think next season we're going to slowly start to see a different side of Katie, naturally, because they'll have the sandwich shop. Yeah. There's more girl power. There's more unity there. I think we're definitely going to see a lot more of that.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Okay. So, so then we're just kind of going on about how Sandoval's like living on and off with Ariana, essentially. And, Andy's asking how it's been for Ariana with that. And she lets us know it's like the fact that he was refusing to let anyone know he was coming to the house, and he would just show up unannounced, and it was traumatizing. She said, re-traumatizing for me. And then he would come in there yelling at everybody who was there to support me. And finally, now he has agreed to at least let his assistant know. Sandoval's face during all of this was so like, oh my God, and there was a never before scene that was shown before the reunion when Sandoval and Rachel at her apartment for the new finale, where he ends up showing the video to Rachel of the cars that were blocking the driveway and all the paparazzi and stuff, because Ariana mentioned that on the Call Her Daddy podcast as well, that he had like left and then went back to Rachel's. And so when sorry, I lost my place. Okay, so when Andy asks Lala, he says, I know that when you and Randall broke up and you got out of the house pretty quickly, do you think it's healthy for these two to be sharing a home? And she says, no. Sandoval is Randall. Give it 10 years. He's Randall Emmett. And then Rachel's in her trailer rolling her fucking eyes. Did you notice the weird sweater? I mean, I'm sure maybe the sweater would have been cute if it weren't on her, but it's like this yin yang heart sweater. And it's like,
I just wasn't, it was too comfy cozy for the situation for me. I was just like, what are you doing? You're not in your bedroom, like watching Sweet Valley High. Like, calm down.
Right? And Lala says, it's terrifying. I couldn't get Randall to stay home. And then when shit hit the fan, I couldn't get him out of the house. And Ari says, there you go. And it's so, I mean, that's exactly what's happening. We've watched it play out.
It's true. And we've heard this from people we know that have been with people like that, where all of a sudden they aren't leaving that house for shit. Where are you going? Where are you going? Don't leave. I want to talk to you now. All of a sudden, now it's like, I want to talk to you. I want to talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. Let's talk. I don't need to go anywhere. I can spend all my time with you.
Yeah. Suddenly I'm there. Suddenly it's my house too. And yeah, basically when Lala says he's a fucking narcissist, everyone needs to be warned about this person. Like, this is a dangerous human being. And the collective audience knows what Lala means by calling him a dangerous human being. She's not calling him a rapist. She's not like calling him a murderer. So I don't know why Lisa thought it. I mean, I know why, but I also am like, Lisa, why? She's like, Lala, that's actually a dangerous stance to take and start saying Sandoval's a dangerous person. Well, I know you want to protect your businesses, but Lisa, come on. Let her say that. Let her, because Lala's too triggered to see past, like, see the, what is it, the forest through the trees, or the trees through the forest. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think it is trees through the forest. But, quite honestly, in that moment, she's not wrong in saying that he's a dangerous person, because in turn, Rachel's also a dangerous person. She would be a dangerous friend, a dangerous anything, and why Lisa feels like that's not appropriate, maybe she meant that more towards the connection to him being Randall in 10 years. But I think what Lala was trying to say is the way that you're behaving is like the like junior version of what Randall was before he got to a place where he's womanized women to a point where it became unacceptable behavior and it became sneaky, where he, because this is what Tom was busted for, is the sneakiness and the lying and but then, the constant reverting back to, well, she didn't care enough to come follow me, or she would have saw.
Oh my God.
If that doesn't make you want to go throw every kitchen knife you own at this person, if you know what I'm saying, like, that is not something that you say ever. Even if you're thinking that, Tom, because you're not man enough to break up with her, you would have rather her find you so that she could do it. That's what everyone's right there, mad Georgio, at you about.
You got it. You got it right there. Because
you didn't want to be the bad guy.
You were too much of a coward to do it. So you wanted her to be a psycho, follow you and do it so you wouldn't fucking have to. Oh, see, I'm not just passionate. I'm angry.
This has gotten people fired up. You know why? It's either happened to them or they know someone close to them that it's happened to. And so seeing it play out like this is, it's triggering. It's infuriating. This is what I think people don't get about the collective people that are so drawn into this specific narrative.
Yeah. A friend of mine, she had, I think I said that, I can't remember if it was on here, that on my podcast I said this. You know how it is when you're talking about it so much sometimes. You're like, so I'm sorry, friends, if I start repeating, because I'm anywhere and everywhere right now, probably more than you want me to be, but guess what? I'm not going anywhere. But I had said one of my friends had this exact same situation happen to her in college with her best friend and her boyfriend lying to her to her face. And so she was literally talking to her therapist about it, I guess after the finale episode. And her therapist had said that she had 4 patients that day come to her saying that finale episode was triggering for them. 4 of them.
I can see why. Do you know why? It's that cold. You clearly have been broken up because someone cheated or something broke you to a point where you're like, all you can do is smoke cigarettes, drink bottles of wine, whatever's around.
Straight from that bottle.
Have your friends keep you in this delusional state of crying and laughing.
Yes.
The lighting from outside is just setting in a little bit too harshly, but you don't give a shit. You don't give a shit how you look. You are sunken into your sweats that you've been wearing for 2 days because you've been fighting for 62 hours straight. And now the cameras pick up. Now the cameras pick up, and now we got to play this game of like, okay, what do you got to say? That's why she was like, go ahead, say everything you want to say because we're never having another conversation.
Oh, Georgio, the way you just you brought that all into the point of view for everyone, the way you described that. I have like goosebumps on my body just being like, I don't know if I'm being an annoying like part of my brain going into the actor mode. If I were about to do that scene and that were written for me, you just got me in there. And the way just the goosebumps here, it's that sick feeling in your stomach. And there's not really another feeling that's like it. There's the feeling of being devastated. Someone has maybe passed away, or there's the devastation of betrayal from friends, or like devastation of just not getting the things that you needed to have happen in your life. But that feeling of the person you thought was it being over, it is a sinking feeling. And it's almost like I remember the anxiousness of it and the just overall butterflies. Sorry, I don't mean to trigger people more by really going into it. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head.
Well, it's a heavy thing to digest.
Yeah, it is.
This wasn't a 6-month relationship. They own a house together. It's a little bit different. It's really different when you own a house with someone. They keep going back to Kristen and Tom. They had a shitty apartment that they both split.
Yeah.
And who cares? They literally put their finances together to buy a house. That's not something that you just take lightly and say, oh, okay.
That affects your credit the rest of your life in a way that just the marriage certificate does not. I can assure you of that.
But you might as well be married. See what I mean?
She's not
as easily able to just get. If it was an apartment, she would have already moved out.
Oh, absolutely. She'd have been like, you find someone else to take over the lease. That's the thing too.
Yeah.
I think people put so much weight on people who have gone ahead, signed the marriage contract. And then, when people say boyfriend, they were partners. They were not.
It's not just boyfriend. I mean, I'm sure she's referred to him as that, but I mean, overall, it's a partner.
Yes, it's heavier than that. And I'm not saying the word boyfriend has no weight to it, or the word girlfriend doesn't either. It's just that it's just so much more. It's so much more, So this part, I found very interesting, and it was a really big switch that has been flipped. And, when Lisa was saying to Lala, you can't just call him a dangerous person. And Lala says, well, I didn't ask for anyone else's opinion. And Lisa says, well, you have my opinion. Well, that's great. I reject it. And this is the moment when we're seeing the Beverly Hills housewife LVP coming out, because she's starting to clock that, no, these are not the quote unquote kids working in my restaurant and I'm their boss anymore. That is not that's not what this is. They are adults. Some of them have been married and divorced and married again. They have children. They own their businesses. They're running multiple businesses. This is not the way it works anymore. They don't have to have that specific respect. But I cackled out loud when the cameras immediately go to Sheena when Lala says that. Sheena was going, I don't know, Lala, that was a bit mouth off to Lisa.
Yeah, because she's thinking about Kristen. 'Cause remember, Kristen pushed it too hard, and then she was off the show. But I mean, listen, you have to remember too. Lala is a housewife in training. She is gunning to be a housewife, so she treated this. She treated this like a housewives reunion, not a Vanderpump Rules reunion, because she's someone who's an avid watcher of them. The shows.
Right.
She studies it. Watch her antics. She knows what to do. That's why. And she learned a long time ago when the producers would ask her to do something, or bring something up, if you did what they asked, you get some bonuses. And she was like, "Oh yeah, I can do this."
Yes.
But
Yep.
what I'm saying about her is that her and James both would they have done that on a normal day? No. They were on a TV show. They know they've got to bring it. And they also were taking up for their friend. And to be fair, James is hurt in this for a lot of reasons. Rachel was his fiance at one point. He did look at Tom as a brother because that was clear. And for Tom to completely just blow that off and be a jerk about it was infuriating, and I understand why. But I will say this about James. James is and probably will forever be a child at heart when it comes to his emotions and how he deals with them. But I have to give him props for bringing the entertainment value, because he was even making his castmates laugh with his antics.
He was hysterical. And something you said last time you were on here that I still think about it all the time, and I love it. That you noted that James is almost over his own ego. And that was such a, I mean, it was one of, I'm sorry, but it was profound. I found that to be a very profound thought and point, because once you see that, you realize that's why we're liking him, because the ego that's left over is the funny part of his ego, the part that is actually like entertaining. The ego that was let me act like I'm jacking off with throwing my drink at you and body shaming you people. That's the part of his ego that we didn't like. This is the part we like. I hope he keeps some of this part, because it was hysterical. And I also, not to give her credit, but I think, his girlfriend is really kind of influencing that a little bit more. Not to say that because to me, from the show, she gives off a very, I'm good in my own skin. If you keep messing up and you annoy me enough, I will cut you loose. Like, I really don't care. And I think he needs a girl like that, honestly, where he's kind of like, oh, no, I don't know. She mad at me. She doesn't look like she's mad, but I don't want to take any chance. Because he's very much like that with her, right? Yeah. He's
like, oh, he's very
careful.
googly. And he's like, and she always has that look on her face like, yeah, okay. Yeah. Don't fuck around or you find out.
Yeah, like, honey, the thing is, I want you. I don't need you. Okay? Make sure I want to keep wanting you.
Yeah, and I was also on a reality show on the CW.
Right, yeah.
What was that show about again? Was it about country singers?
Something like trying to make it in the big city. I think, wasn't she from Ohio?
It was like a teen bops version of like Vanderpump Rules, I think.
Kind of, yeah, something like that. Oh my God. And then, okay, so then Lala points out everything we've been pointing out. They were partners. This was, and Lisa, why? Now, part of me, as I'm saying this, I know Lisa knows what has to be said, because she did this with Lala in her kitchen way earlier in the season, when she was saying, well, how could you not have known about Randall? Because she knew everyone was going to say that to her, right? So there is a side to Lisa that we know she is trying to go ahead and hit the nail on the head, where she knows everyone's going to say this, right? And she knows what people are saying. They pay attention. And so, yes, she does, but it doesn't make it any more accurate. Yeah, and a lot of other people have done that before, and they're not dangerous people. And Lala's like, yeah, I know. I had a baby with one of them.
Dangerous in what way? There's different ways to be dangerous. I think everyone's equating dangerous to killing someone or offing them.
Exactly.
It's not. It's this person is secretly being conniving behind my back.
It's dangerous to trust my life and my heart with someone like that. You are putting my heart in danger. If like in my loyalty to you, my trust, like that is in danger.
That's dangerous. Yeah, but that would be dangerous in and of itself.
Yes.
To be in a relationship of any kind with this man.
Absolutely. And then Sandoval has the absolute goddamn audacity to say, Lala, if you're gonna judge my character, you need to get in line somewhere in the fucking back. Okay. And Lala just was like, oh, I wasn't even talking to you. You can see. Shut the fuck up. And Lisa's telling her to calm down. I'm not gonna calm down. And yes, it was LVP was like, oh my God. we're here for like 10 hours, for God's sake. You cannot start like this. And we're ready
They had
to
just
go.
sat down. They had just sat down. But they said that that's how it was going to be.
Yep.
How could you not be like that? What are you going to talk? How do you ease into that?
The hardest part would be to sit there quietly and watch. I mean, oh my gosh. So, ooh, and then LVP just keeps, okay. So Andy's asking, Ariana, you said you weren't spending a lot of quality time together. Do you think that's where that divide was caused? And she says, no, I think he caused the divide in the relationship because he's fucking other people. And then Lisa says, other people is very different to Raquel. Lisa, yes. But Lisa, why are you putting Raquel in this category? I think what maybe the way you wanted to phrase that was, well, there's fucking other people, and then there's fucking Raquel, which is worse, is how you needed to phrase that a little bit differently for us, okay? And he's fucked more than Raquel, and we get all of that, like, yes. And I mean, Ariana being, woo! I wish that they had cut to Rachel at this moment. I had done a split screen to show Rachel's face when Tom is admitting to sleeping with other people and cheating on Ariana with other people to Sheena in that flashback. I know they typically aren't showing the flashbacks. They show some, I know, but they typically don't in a moment like this. But I would have been interested to see what her face looked like. Probably nothing, actually. Doesn't matter.
I don't think she has a reaction.
No.
I think she really is indifferent. She does not come across like she cares whatsoever.
She doesn't. And really, they just like go into basically Andy, Ariana, and Sandoval about what was happening with the relationship. Did they have the conversations about the issues? And, something that Ariana said, well, yeah, that conversation in the original finale that we were together for 9 years. We had plenty of them. And he had been screaming at me for 45 minutes straight the night before, saying the same shit off camera. And the way Sandoval is looking at her, it is like, you would think she were the one who cheated. We're not violent. Is saying I just want to spray jalapeno water on his face violent? Is that maybe just water, cold water? Still violent. Okay. I just want to make the look on his face go away.
I think the whole nation wants to backhand him for some of the stuff he's been saying at this reunion. And this is just part one. But what's funny to me is, everything is just a scripted act. And this is why the answers never change, because he has formulated his brain to respond and answer in these ways. So that's why he never is going to show. If he would have, I'm not saying she would have been like softer on him, but I did appreciate in the finale when she was like, I'm allowed to be mad and you should still be trying to apologize. That is true. You don't get to cop out of apologizing because the person's mad when you try to do it. It's just infuriating.
I'm just going to say I have absolutely experienced that exact moment in my life. And, I loved that she said that. The things that Ariana clocks and says and that she knows how to communicate, I cannot understand how anyone would have a hard time communicating with her. She is precise. It's just... It's weird to me that anyone could say they couldn't have good communication with her.
From the beginning of this journey with Tom, she has been a cool, level-headed, logical chick. Like, I want to be friends with Ariana.
I mean,
okay?
Who doesn't?
Like, you know why? Because she's the girlfriend that you call that's level-headed. She'll get emotional with you, but she's also like, look, you just need to look at it this way. Like how she talks to Tom a lot of times. Like, no, you just need to look at it from this point of view because you're not looking at it that way. And you're only seeing it from your own, basically you're self-centered. And what I'm saying is she was a cool down, laid back chick about everything. Miami girl. She was Bonnie and Clyde. Like, I'm going to stick up for him. And, there's probably more things that she knows she's not disclosing. But the point is that She doesn't have to cover for you anymore. But what is clear is the communication issues were probably more to do with you based on the fact that you just wanted to party. Because that's the thing that she said in the Call Her Daddy podcast was, you know, she's at a different point in her life where it's not about going out just to go out unless there's an occasion.
God, the way, I mean, the recovery it takes after a night like that, it ain't the same. And, you know, how to not divulge too much because I know people don't need to hear all about my situations and I don't want to put people on blast. No matter, well, kind of. But I had almost, you and I are friends, and I've talked to you. You and I had very in-depth conversations about things in our life. So I feel comfortable sharing this with you, especially it was recently that I said to someone in my life that, you know, you don't know that side of me that can be, because I don't. It takes a lot for me to be that person that I am at, where I'm at that point that I am saying I will like end you over something, as just not threatening violence way, but I will eviscerate you, because I have always considered your feelings before, even in an argument or a fight. I would always consider your feelings before I opened my mouth and said something that might hurt you. So now that's where, but once you don't know what it's like to be around me when I don't have that filter on anymore. And that's where Ariana is. That indifference filter has gone up. Once you've been hurt like that, it's done. And so he probably doesn't even recognize Ariana anymore because he doesn't know this Ariana. And neither do we as an audience. We know Ariana is loyal as hell. I mean, truly loyal as hell. She would have to be.
And even still, she still was being nice. Like, there's so many things about him that aren't shown that if people got to see, it would make sense. And like, that's just the point. It's like he has only been talking about her in this like clingy and bringing up her mental health and weaponizing it against her and saying that she threatened to off herself is the most disgusting thing that you could do.
I'm going to tell you how much I believe that.
Even if that was true, you don't say that on camera and put her out there like that.
No, but I'm going to tell you,
that.
There's no way that I believe that she said that to him, because here's the thing. And she did say on Call Her Daddy, and here's trigger warning for, you know, anyone, that she said, well, no, I have had suicidal ideations. But if that were the case for her right now, we would have seen that happening, because this was the worst thing that could have happened. Rather than him just breaking up with her because he didn't want to be with her anymore, this was him not breaking up with her and going behind her back and absolutely, utterly betraying her. And she did also say on the Call Her Daddy podcast, which again, I'm going to go ahead and later on at some point cover that some. But she did also say that when I told Tom, no, you're going to, like, it wasn't that you have to force me out of this. If you're the one who wants to break up, I don't. You have to break up with me. I'm not breaking up with you when I don't want to break up. And Tom twisted that into, well, you're going to have to force me out. No, that's not what she was saying. And so, yeah, it's okay. All right. So I'm just going to,
it just like, it makes my hair hurt sometimes. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh, like, yes. Yes. The way someone will twist the words.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It just makes it's actually making my eyebrow hairs hurt.
They're like curling up in a way they didn't before, I'm sure.
Yes. But it's just like, you put this much thought into these responses that are so calculated and so strategic. Like, why would I trust you for anything?
Anything at all. Anything. Okay. So they basically, like, Ariana's kind of like getting annoyed because it's like, it's pointless at this point, because she also lets us know that they had been intimate after Andy brings that up. They were intimate around, like, in January and all of this year. And, you know, she's saying he's victim blaming. And Schwartz, listen, buddy, I don't know what is the deal, because Schwartz, Sandoval never even ends up helping. He helped you out in one way and you fucked yourself again. And the way he helped you out was by trying to say he didn't tell you until January. And you done fucked up the timeline by thinking you were protecting your ass when the only thing Sandoval did in all of this to help you out or protect you was saying he only told you in January. And then you done fucked that up by going and saying, no, you told me in August by telling the truth. And that's that's where we're seeing the turn there. Okay. So, and it's and he tries to say, oh, it's the reunion. It's like therapy. And no, it's not therapy. Right.
No.
And it's about getting into the state of the relationship. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, when Andy asks, did any of you recognize that there were issues? And, Sheena says, not until more recently when Lala had a convo with me saying that she really thought there was something going on between them and between him and Raquel. And I sat down with Ariana, and from the sounds of everything, was great. They had been intimate that month. Their communication was better, and they were in a good place. And
that information is just way too, not... who checks in on their friends' intimacy
sex
with
life.
The last time we spoke, she said that sex had been great that month, and they'd done it 6 times, right?
So
it's
weird.
almost like she was like, isn't that what you said to me? This is when
So
and I was
weird.
but that's the other thing. Sheena barely had anything to say because I think she had her foot in her mouth for so much of the season that we won't get to hear from her outside of the situation with Raquel and where that turns, where we got to see a little bit of that.
She's eating crow right now.
Yeah, I mean, I would be too.
Same, but she's doing it. Honestly, I've not always been a big Sheena lover. She has funny moments that are the cringy funny moments. I appreciate how she's handling this because I don't think there's a better way she could be handling it because she's not making it all about her. She's not making it about just the betrayal to her. She is completely honoring that it's about Ariana, and she's also acknowledging where she made mistakes and what the mistakes were. So, I mean, sorry if anyone's not feeling Shishu, you're going to have to get in line somewhere at the back. The other thing, they get a cut to Rachel, who looks like she smelled her own fucking asshole by accident whenever she hears Sheena say that. So, okay. This same question keeps getting asked 20 times, right? Andy goes, Sandoval, once you started your relationship with Raquel, why not come clean to Ariana? And then James, and to your friends, do you remember who I am, Tom? Yeah, you're James motherfucking Kennedy. Something Sandoval also does whenever he's getting really petulant, he sinks in to the back of his shoulders, and he gets this double. He gives himself a double chin and gets hunched over and is yeah, exactly. Just, eh. And he's like, what is that to you? And this is the thing here. Okay, Lisa says, okay, I think Ariana is a little more important here, and Ariana says, no, but still, they were brothers. Yes, and now the timeline for when James and Raquel, okay, we know that was not when he got with Allie, that was 6 weeks later? Okay, yes, there is, that's me throwing in that for all of you who are going to say that, but.
Just a friendly reminder.
Yes, James was going to marry Raquel.
Yes.
He asked her to be his wife. They were going to do a wedding, okay? Supposedly. We're going to say that was...
Allegedly.
Thank you. He's important to this conversation, too. He has skin in this game. All of them do, but the two people who have the most skin in it were... Well,
yeah, but when you look back, though, this is a close group of people... And it's a little too close for comfort that, okay, again, I would not be this comfortable. I'm sorry. I don't care if we're close friends for 20 years. You are not getting in bed with my friend, and it's fine.
No.
You're not going to be riding my boyfriend's shoulders if it's not me. Who the fuck?
Not-
Who? what the fuck are you smoking, bro?
Not if you want to.
Like, not in this
No.
motherfucking house,
No.
ever. Never. I don't
We
care
can
if
be
you're my
very
closest,
close.
dearest friend and you are like a sibling. You are
No.
not my sibling, and siblings do shit like that too. So siblings aren't riding, and you know what I'm just saying? It's too
No.
close for comfort.
I
And I
agree.
understand why James is triggered and pissed off because
Yes.
James has been shit on a lot on this show.
He
He's
sure
taken
has.
it. And Tom, behind the scenes, we've learned, is very manufactured in the way that he goes about showing things. So it is infuriating when he says that, oh, well, it's not fair. We're not showing the bad side of our relationship, man. And it's like, no, Tom, but you don't want to show it either, because up until this point, until you decided to change the narrative and make Ariana look like some like crazy Looney Tune who's like, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah,
It's like,
because
that's
that's
what you
so
made her
Ariana.
seem like. Like, she was like, no, you're not. You're not breaking up with me.
Yeah, you're not. If you want to do it,
So
you
what
do
would
it.
you like for dinner?
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's a different energy the way we know it was presented and how it actually went down.
1,000%.
And that's the thing. And Sandoval's like, we were like brothers. I talk to you once a month, dude. Okay? I have a brother that maybe I don't talk to him for 2 months. He's still my brother and I still love him. I have best friends that maybe there's a month goes by that I don't get a chance to talk to him. When you're adults, this happens. You're not in high school where you can see each other 5 days a week. Like, that's not how that anyway. And James, it breaks my heart a little bit here for James too. And he's like, "You've been a big bro, dude." And Sandoval says, "That's what you called me, yes." And they argue about it, and James goes, just goes to show how much of a friend you never were. You've always been an opportunist. And Rachel's shaking her head in her trailer. And Sandoval goes, "An opportunist? You fucked Kristen to get on the show 5 days after we fucking broke up." And James makes the point, when I was 21. Now, being 21 is not an excuse for everything, but the dumbass shit I thought was okay. Now, it wasn't something like this, but the dumb shit I thought was okay when I was 21, or that mattered to me. And if Sandoval brings up those goddamn condoms of his one more time.
Who cares? Why does he care so much about these things that happened 30 years ago? Listen, that's not even the same thing. And if we're going to be fair, James got his karma because Rachel came on the show because she knew that if she could screw him, she'd get on the show. And look where we are. So you don't have to keep bringing that up. He's aware of his own karma. That has nothing to do with your behavior, but that's the problem. Tom's pointing his finger at every single person that has something to say about this and be like, but you... In 2013, though, remember? Like, no.
Well, and yeah. And so James is getting up and getting pissed and reiterating, all of this, right? And Sandoval's like, "Get out of my face." Andy's intervening. And Rachel is like in her trailer going like,
loving it.
"Oh, no.
No.
Oh, these men are fighting over me." She just...
Wow.
It made her feel good.
Why are they so mad?
"Oh, little me. Oh, you love me. You really love me." And then poor Andy, his cards go everywhere, and we get the, my cards, and throwing his hands up.
I don't know why that annoyed me when he said that that. I don't know why. It really did, though. It was like, oh my God, shut up. Just pick up your fucking cards, dude.
I thought it was so funny.
You know what? I will say it was annoying because they're in order based on what the topics are, so he probably was pissed in that way.
Lesson learned. Put numbers, interns, assistants on the cards.
I'm sure they are, but he was annoyed that he has to sit there and reshuffle them so he doesn't look like an asshole.
Fair point, actually.
But you know what, though? First of all, that whole situation happened twice where James was trying to come around the bend. And it just, to me, it's like, you know what? I get why people think he was a little over the top, but this...
No, this was pent up. This was
a lot of history between these two
as
castmates, how they came on the show to be on the show. And at first, when Jax hated James, Tom was the only one that was nice to James, kind of. He was like that neutral space for James, someone who would film with him, hello, has anyone watched the show? Like, come
Yeah,
on. There's more to there. That's why Ariana was like, yeah, no, that's important too. Like, these friendships are important because we're all in them together and because they
exactly.
are so close.
Exactly. Yeah. And I this whole scene, I can't let it go. Sandoval again is saying to James, we were supposed to move in together. I've stood up for you and nobody else would. I went against everybody for you. And James is like, F you. I don't want you to stick up for me. You're a pussy ass bitch and I think you're a clown. And your band sucks dick. And I don't know why I also found this funny when Ariana's just sitting there like unbothered and goes to Andy, sorry about your cards. And James, again, you backstabbing hoe. Sandoval, then get in my face again. I'll fuck you up, motherfucker. First of all, James is large, okay? He has been working out. James is not a small person. Sandoval, I don't like to talk about how people look, but you look like you have been literally on drugs for a couple months and like you have not eaten or slept. So no, you would not be able to fuck him up. And James is back up again. Come on, I will fuck you up right now, bitch. I will fuck you up so quickly. Look at me, bro. I'm way warmer than you. They're all holding him down. Back. And Andy goes over and he addresses James's big feelings. That's what we call when toddlers have a tantrum.
Yes.
Their big feelings. And he's calming him down. And James, I will beat his ass. You actually won't. And I listen, again, when Andy says, stay in your fucking chair, hearing Andy say a whole ass fucking on, no, it hits different.
Well, first of all,
don't take
and
this
I'm sure
away from us ever again.
I'm sure it hit different for all the gay twinks out there too that look at him as Daddy Andy. Like you better sit your ass in that fucking seat. And they were like, "Yes, Daddy."
Any of them that were standing up immediately just, okay, excuse me.
So crazy.
I know.
Isn't the uncensored crazy though to hear every I don't know why. It's like we've never heard. It's like we've never heard cuss words or like our everyday lives are censored. It's not. I think it adds a layer of reality to it more because it's like
breaking the fourth wall more. Yes, you're right.
When you censor something, it's more polished. It's ready to be like digested by the masses. You don't have to hear the actual word being used, but you can kind of think of, I know what word is being used. But it's way different when it's just like full on. You're still mentally waiting for a bleep.
Yeah,
and it's not happening.
Love it. And when I was at the watch party, when I tell you, everyone in that bar was howling with laughter from this moment. When James looks up at Andy after he tells him to stay in a fucking chair, he goes, "He's the one who said it first, Andy." We were howling, okay? It was just so hysterical. And he's, all you have to do is stay in the chair. I'm gonna go to the restroom, actually. And Andy's, okay, go pee, but stay in the chair, dude. And he can't stop. He turns around, pussy ass bitch. He just won't stop. And then we get to the beautiful moment of, because Ariana's cracking up too. You're a worm with a mustache, ugly fucking worm. You think you're an artist and you're not. And Sandoval's comeback is, you've had the same haircut for 9 years. You fucking worm. Yeah, and it works for me, bro. Why are you talking about his haircut? His haircut works. It's what's wrong with it?
What I know that was such a weird dig that he was trying to make. I was like, what?
Like, what
does
is that?
His hair have to do with anything?
I agree. So Sandoval says to James, or says to everyone, James pees on a fire hydrant like he's a dog and that's his fire hydrant. What's his fire hydrant? The fact that he thinks, didn't really get what the fire hydrant was. And Lala, voice of reason, like, here, we all fucked up, right? I get that. And Ariana's like, would you shut up to him? And she's like, so stop bringing up Kristen Doty, who was not your life partner, okay? Living in a shithole apartment, no, that is not the same, okay? Not the same.
Not at all.
And he's like, what does that have to do with James Kennedy? And she's like, you keep bringing up that he fucked Kristen. And Ariana's like, try to grasp the point. And, I forgot Katie and Sheena were there for a second, to be honest. That was so intense. It was just like,
I know. There's moments I was like, oh, Sheena.
yeah. And that's pretty wise. And, Lala's explaining what we've already gone over here, that was his partner. And again, Andy tries to ask why Sandoval didn't come clean as soon as I'm stuttering now. Excuse me. Why Sandoval did not come clean when he started his relationship with Raquel. And again, James is coming back. It's like James is more like a 7-year-old who's ready to, who, I don't know, got his ass, was told he was going to get his ass beaten like soccer or something. And he's like, tell him he can't beat my ass. I can beat his ass. Whenever the producer's like, use your hands or your words. Nope, not what he said. Use your words, not your hands.
Use your hands.
Now, oh my God, Georgio, this part. When it was about Andy asking why, I'm going to repeat it again. Why, Sandoval, why did you not come clean to Ariana when your relationship with Raquel started? And we get a cut to Raquel. This sociopath is laughing in her trailer saying, I want him to answer this question. Would they just stop talking, as if she wants him to answer the question if he liked her outfit that day. I just want to know.
But that right there is why I think she wants to know, because she wants to know based on what he's told her why he hasn't broken it off, which goes back to that theory.
Yeah.
That this may have started around when she got engaged to James and they started to get to know each other possibly, and there was some sort of entanglement, whether it was emotional at the time or whatever. I really think she wants to hear his answer to this, and this is why it's been brought up so much. Why is it such a hard answer? Because he's probably trying to remember all the answers he's given Raquel for why, because she probably was like, well, I'm not in a relationship. You're the one sneaking around. This wasn't part of our deal. I could see that being the case.
Agree. I see that this theory is very well.
It's starting to work, right? When you
Yes.
start to piece the things we see.
It is a well-researched theory. Is that the word? It's a supported theory. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. Oh my God. Okay. And so they're telling him, James, to be quiet. And he's like, yeah, I'll be quiet, Tweedledee and Tweedle Little Dick. And Schwartz looks at Katie and he goes, am I Tweedledee? And the look Katie gives him, can you imagine even more of the shit she put up with from that man? That man.
I really think he's dead ass serious when he's doing this shit too. I don't think he's putting on for the camera. I really think he's being serious. Am I Tweedle?
No. So Andy is, again, you can say whatever you want. Just stay in your seat. And when James goes, sorry. I can't keep it together. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to go ahead and get it out so I can get through. And he goes, ugly fuck. Did you just call me an ugly fuck? Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm still
Andy knew he did not say that to him.
Exactly.
But that was he wasn't saying that to you.
Andy,
Give me a break.
I thought the same thing. I was like, Andy, what the fuck are you even asking that for?
Why would he have said that to you anyway? You weren't in the fight.
Right. Because then James goes, no, you're handsome. He's the little ugly fucking clown fuckhead. And then again, Andy, just stay in your fucking seat. You will be in your dressing room. You won't be on stage. And then we get I'll be sent for a timeout. I get a spanked bottom for lunch. Andy, a spanked bottom. Oh, my God. I mean, it was gold.
I'm sure Andy would like that anyways.
Get a bright. Lala said he likes it. So, yeah. Emmy, Golden Globe, Oscar, Pulitzer, Nobel Peace Prize, Medal of Honor. Do it all. Do it all. Because it was incredible. Incredible. And we get...
I want to speak on the James thing because I feel like James was having a moment of clarity that I think he realized he was also a pawn in a lot of storylines in the past. And I think it just resonated with him now because he's more centered and he can reflect more, I think. And I think we saw this a little bit play out in the season where he's demanding this respect from people around him, and he's not just some like wackadoodle DJ who spins
Yeah.
at Sir. It's
Yeah.
bigger than that for him, and I think it's growing, and I think he wants to be taken more seriously, and I think Allie gives him that space to be that serious, and I think that motivates him to be a
That's so
better
true.
human. So I think in this moment, although he was caught in a mixture of I'm on a reality show and I'm really hurt by this person's actions because I kind of feel duped and I feel like you maybe had ulterior motives when you paid for my engagement. Like, I don't know. What do you want people to think at this point when you link it all the way back like that? So I understand his reaction to Tom because it's almost like you guys have been taking a piss at my face for years, and now you come in and you do this, and you want to sit there and pretend like you're going to cry, which, by the way, not one tear rolled out of that eye. It went right back in
Never.
as soon as everyone told him to just cut the shit,
Yeah, because
you
they
know?
knew.
So
And
it's
that's
not a genuine
yeah.
approach to any of this.
Anyone who and that's a great point too, because like anyone who is genuinely distraught and crying, if people start piling onto you saying cut it out, if I were really upset crying, I would start crying more at people saying that to me. And it just, I mean, mask off. Mask off. That was it. So he ends up finally answering this question about why he didn't complain. Oh, because he was scared to, since Ariana was going through a lot. And, when do you think you would have actually told her if she hadn't discovered it?
I actually had a therapy session with my therapist, and we had basically planned on doing it that following Tuesday because we would have had fully wrapped filming and fully wrapped interviews, so she wouldn't have had to go into the interviews and have to be like, oh, we're here for the sandwich shop, and have to talk about that when, like, this had just been told to her.
And you want an award for that plan? Because, and here's the thing, no therapist is coming up with that plan. That is not a healthy plan. I don't care if they're not in reality TV and don't quite get the semantics around having to deal with the show on top of real life things like this. But if that had happened, if he did decide to break up with her and tell her, the only reason why you didn't do that until after the show wrapped is because you didn't want this to happen. You wanted the show to go down. You wanted to let this narrative play out that you were unhappy, right? And then all of a sudden, like Ariana said and Call Her Daddy, that they would just miraculously show up one day as like they just started dating. No.
Oh, out of the clear blue.
Yeah, no. And no one would have bought that either, by the
No.
way.
No. Yeah, because we would have all been like, yeah, you didn't just suddenly look at each other and
Yeah,
go,
no.
let's get on it.
Because we would have looked back at this season, right?
Mm-hmm.
They would have flashed
Exactly.
back because the producers would have been like, wait a minute.
They would have gone through the
Please.
fine tooth comb would have been out, honey. It would have. So then he asks Schwartz, when did he find out? When did Sandoval tell him? And Schwartz, same spiel. It's like so rehearsed. There's no point in me going into it word for word because he's going to say the exact same thing, regurgitate what Sandoval has been saying nonstop. It is always the same. And basically he said it was July that he started hearing he wasn't happy. And then he says that he told him the day after guys' night that he had confided in Raquel and they had like an intimate moment. Okay, that's the night that I believe Sandoval had said that they made out, quote unquote, for the alleged first time. And Ariana's like, when Charlotte's body was not even fucking cold, by the way. So, yeah, Schwartz is saying, again, like giving his like Schwartz like bullshit, like he thinks he's a wordsmith and it's obnoxious at this point to me to where it's like, I will say it time and time again. Schwartz loves a word of the day calendar and he lives by the thesaurus and it's like, you can use as many well-weighted words as you would like, Schwartz, but it doesn't change the fact that you can just simply say, quite literally, oh, he felt comfortable just confiding in her. And because Katie clocks it, she knows this. She's bought him his word of the day calendars. And I loved it. And Katie says, by confided in her, you mean he put his penis in her. And get to the point. You know what? When did you find out they were fucking, dude? And he says, come late August. This is Schwartz says it. Come late August, I met up with Tom and he broke it down for me. He told me that. And then Sandoval's face. Now, there's something that's really interesting here for me personally. When the two of them were on Watch What Happens Live together, I remember thinking there was some sort of weird energy there. And I even pulled the tweet back up. I had taken a picture of my TV of the look Sandoval was giving Schwartz during a moment when Schwartz was talking. And the moment that Schwartz was talking was him answering Andy about how, quote unquote, faithful he had been to Katie. And I thought Sandoval was looking at him like, you don't fuck up your answer there because we all know, like looking at him like, I know you weren't faithful. I thought that's what that look was. And I had tweeted that out, and he's giving him that same exact look here. This was, I believe, back in January that this was. You could see this January, February, February maybe. Because
I think it was February. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
It's. I mean, it was so reminiscent. I need to try and take because I took that exact picture. I'm going to try and put a side by side out somewhere on social media so y'all can see what I'm talking about. Same exact look. Because Sandoval looks at him, and when he does this, he never looks directly at anyone. Did you notice this too about Sandoval? He just to the side, because oh my God, he's not gonna. His face has to be facing camera on his good side, of course. And he goes late August, and Schwartz says, "Yeah, you told me late August after the wedding." What? And Lala, yes, ma'am. Oh, did you guys not put your timelines together? And Schwartz is saying that's what he told me. And he went through his phone and looked. And so this is where I went, did he text him about it? And then whatever. And Schwartz still claims he didn't know when he kissed Raquel in Mexico that anything had been going on.
That's a lie.
Exactly. We all know that's a fucking lie. And Ariana had been clocking like, well, you got to coach the rat all day yesterday, but you didn't get to coach this one. Schwartz.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it's true. At least Rachel would have had time to study some cue cards in her trailer. And then Andy brings up the moment. This Schwartz was never trying to be an actor. Okay, let's remember this. Because when Schwartz said in this, it's a flashback now, that he thought Rachel had a crush on someone else. Dude, you can tell Sandoval knows, oh my God, this man cannot act his way through a paper bag. He is... I don't know, man. I kind of feel like she might have a crush on someone else. Wink. And so Andy asked him, were you talking about him to Schwartz? And he said, honestly, yeah, I was talking about him. And he's like, I'm not a fucking idiot. You told me that day. I think it was like the 31st. And I know we went and got drunk in your hot tub afterwards. And he's like, I had a one night stand with Raquel. And it was like, holy fuck, what have I done? A mistake, alcohol, the whole spiel that people do when they have a one night stand. And then after that, things kind of went back to normal. Now, Georgio, can I ask you, what is your definition of a one night stand?
Well, a one-night stand is essentially just that. It's you sleep with that person or you're intimate in whatever capacity that you're comfortable and you never see or speak to that person again. It's what I would dub as pre-Jeff days. I would go on my vacations and call it a holiday fling. It was a one-time, maybe see you out again, flirt with you, but I'm never going to talk to you again. That's that.
And you typically didn't know them well beforehand.
Not one bit. And I couldn't tell you their names now. But the point in that is, yes, it's not a one night stand, but I think Tom was kind of trying to make it seem like that because he kept this big gap in between when they first slept together to when they picked back up. And I just simply don't believe that those two individuals kept it under wraps for that gap of time. I think they continued on, and I think it got more and more intense as they kept getting away with it. I think for Tom, he was getting off on getting away with it. Now that it's
Yeah.
out in the open, I don't think it's as attractive anymore.
It's not fun for him. Not the same.
No.
And yeah, that's the thing too, is again, you notice he and Schwartz are using the same specific words over and over and over. Scapegoat, one night stand, nonstop. And then eventually we get to where Sheena's like, well, was this conversation before glamping? Yep. When he said that Raquel has a type and it is men that are taken. So they basically get to the point like, first of all, why were you even encouraging this to happen, Sandoval, like when you two had already had sex? And, was it a decoy? Was it a smokescreen? And he's like, absolutely not. That happened. And just like you said, it happened and it never can happen again. And they're all kind of like, this is really sick that you were doing that, right? And it really was a diversion. And so then Lala, Andy goes to her and he says, you said during the season that you were seeing similarities in the way Sandoval was acting with Rachel and Ariana back when he was dating Kristen. And Lala was like, yeah, I just feel like he was talking about her the same way he did Ariana. And LVP, like, really, girl, come on. Again, it was so odd, the things that she was jumping on. It didn't make sense to me specifically. LVP is she's more of a master than this, I believe. Well, did you know Tom then? Yeah, you didn't know us then. And Lala, it's called a television and I watched. Like, okay, but you didn't know us. And this was very interesting to me. Ariana goes ahead and calls it out, basically telling them how, yeah, she didn't, when they, got together, she sees the parallels. She could be out all night bartending, no responsibilities. And they were just a bunch of friends. They'd go do mushrooms together because they were such great friends. And then when she questioned why he and why he and Kristen didn't break up when the Jax stuff came out, well, guess what he did? He said, well, her grandpa died and we had tickets to this and tickets to that and I couldn't just, do it now. And it's the same shit. And we get all the flashbacks of Kristen and him. I mean, it's almost word for word. Like, you cringed anytime I hugged you. We hadn't had sex for 3 months. And she says, but I didn't go fuck someone behind my back. Same shit. No sex life. We were separate. You were never home. Da-da-da. Same exact stuff. And she's like, so fuck my friend. Same thing. We go into the whole Miami girl thing. We've got other stuff we can jump into.
I was going to say, I think we knew then that was the truth.
We already know. And we're still, it's Sandoval not getting that stop jumping on to, oh, well, Kristen was on like a rampage. No, they're not talking about Kristen. It's not about Kristen. It's about how you have not changed for 8 years. Mm-hmm.
It's just such a defiance on taking accountability. It's just so crazy to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's so okay. We're getting through it, friends. I know this is a long recap. We kind of got through the whole marriage thing of everyone breaking up, and it did crack me up whenever Sheena had said about Katie. That it seemed like a weight had been lifted off her shoulders when it finally came out she and Schwartz were getting divorced. And she said that she was like, yeah, you deserve better to Katie. And Schwartz leans over. And I was so proud of Sheena for goddamn once doing something like this. And he goes, there's no such thing better than this. And she looked at him. She wasn't fucking around with him either. She said, yes.
Yes.
Woo. Again, I'm just going to kind of skim over some of this, really Katie and Schwartz stuff because it was pretty simple. Katie asked him not to fuck anyone in the group or mess around with anyone in the group.
And he did.
It was literally one person that she was asking him not to screw around with. That's it. The part that I found, okay, why did Andy turn around and ask Sandoval what he thought of that rule that Katie had? And it was really, of all the people, because Ariana's like, yeah, you think it's perfectly appropriate to fuck one of my closest girlfriends, so I think it's a silly question. And again, Rachel's bitch ass rolling her eyes. Okay. And then when it's brought up, Schwartz goes ahead and apologizes. To Katie, before we move on, I'm sorry that I hurt your feelings, and I'm sorry that I did that in Mexico, but I don't know. for some reason, that kiss was like somehow liberating. And Rachel's sitting in her trailer being like, I'm.
That's what I mean. She loved it. She loved it.
Every minute.
She loved it.
And then again, they keep pushing the narrative that the hookup happened once. And it's like, no. And then we get to where we see a flashback from what would have been part of the new finale that Sheena telling Ariana, apparently in April. Well, first, let me start here. Because Ariana says, the one night stand that you planted the seed for in the hot tub at fucking Coachella, you fucking piece of fucking shit. That he'd been working on that, right? So Sheena told Ariana in April, Rachel told a person at Coachella after Ariana went to sleep that he and Rachel were in the Sandoval and Rachel were in the hot tub, and he made a comment to her and was like, so like Ariana are like open, right? And he was coming on to her at Coachella. Well, we know when Coachella is in like March or April, and very much not the case. And there's a big argument about, well, Sandoval's like, I never said that, she never said that. And I love what Ariana asks here. How would you know she repeated it? How would you know? Andy points out everyone's been a cheater. Okay. Yeah. And eventually Lala says what we all know. None of us were fucking our best friend's band. That's the difference. Okay. For months on end. And so this is a moment that I kind of want to just hear. When it's brought up again about Katie's term, like, no, I asked you not to do one thing, just one person, our group. And she says, I had one term due to Schwartz. And you were like, fuck you. And Schwartz says, that's not true. And James goes, you're a man, she's a woman. Like, that's the least you can do out of respect. And Schwartz says, that's sexist. And James like, that's sexist, bro. No. And Sandoval goes,
it is actually.
Yeah, it is actually.
I'm going to tell you what's sexist. And this is, I hate to even go here.
You can't play that card, dude, when you just done what you've done. Stop it.
Of all the moments to jump in, and someone who is benefiting from sexism right now is Tom Sandoval. Rachel is receiving death threats. I'm not saying he isn't, but Rachel is hiding out somewhere at a mental health facility in Tucson. I don't give a shit where, okay? She's hiding out, receiving death threats to the point where her family's contacting the FBI. And you are on stage doing your karaoke act. Not only that, you're not even acting contrite. You are still, and it turns out now, I'm seeing, the Bravo Babe posted this because I guess she went to his show. He is singing, Raquel is hot for me. That is what he sings in Schwartzy's Mom. That is what he said. I hear it now. I at first was like, it's not for me. No, he said hot for me. He is doing this in front of live people.
He loves this.
Don't
he
tell
loves
me,
all of it.
Yeah. Sandoval, do not say a goddamn word about sexism. You are so reaping the benefits of it.
You literally are
beyond.
like, you're literally exploiting Rachel at her seemingly mental lowest point and saying she's hot for you. Like, as if, like.
So gross.
We don't need to be going on about that right now.
So gross. I
wonder what his mom has to say about his behavior.
I know what I would have to say if I were his mother. I would have a lot. I would have a lot to say. As a mother myself, I would say you done fucked up, and if you don't start acting like you know that, I'm gonna do I'll embarrass you. I don't know. Now this only other thing that regarding Katie and Schwartz, that when Katie was like saying, Joe is a creep, and he's like, no, she's not. Don't disparage her like that, Katie, don't. He says to Katie, you're going to get a cease and desist if you keep attacking her in the comments.
Right, because Joe has said that to him.
And was that not him trying to do one of his little maneuvers to take a dig? He calls her a little hermit. He goes, you're a little hermit, a troll. Mwah.
What I don't understand is why does he not understand why they're divorced? You literally are showing exactly why her point is you don't ever take her side. She feels a way about somebody and you take the other person's side.
Immediately. And James sticks up for her. He goes, that's mean. That's mean. She is a comment troll. That is so fucking rude and mean. James, shut the fuck up. No, James, don't shut up. I love that you're sticking up for her in this moment. Should Katie lay off the trolling? Probably. It probably would do her some good to lay off of it. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it's not healthy.
No. And there was something weird happening here. When they talk about the little quadruple double date going to Big Bear. And now it's one of two things. That when Andy asks if they go on double dates, and Lala's saying, Schwartz says, no, fuck no. And Lala says, yes, you did. You went to Big Bear. And he goes, listen, that was not, Schwartz says that wasn't a double date. And he's looking at Tom, and he's going, Tom, tell them. Is it either tell them, what is there that he needs to tell them? Or is it that, Tom, stand up for me, have my back? I'm not sure which one it is.
I think it was, yeah, and I also want to say, like, Schwartz played this whole thing all wrong because he could have actually come out of this like a hero. He could have exploited Tom from the get-go as soon as the news broke and been like, I would have been the first one to be on every podcast being like, nope, I told him he was a POS. No, I would have been like, yeah, I did find out, and I'm a sucky human for not saying something myself, but I trusted that my friend was going to do what he told me he was going to do, and he didn't. And I think if he would have led with that narrative, perhaps he wouldn't be getting as much of the stones thrown at him at this point, and I think Katie would actually respect him as a friend because she would at least be like, okay, I can respect, maybe you didn't say something then, but you're saying something now, and you are seemingly sticking up for what's right. And I think that's what people are ultimately looking for out of Schwartz. Mm-hmm. Where do you stand? Don't just stand with him because he's your friend. Sometimes you've got to stand against your friend when they're doing something wrong so that you can prove a point and create a line in the sand. This is not okay behavior, and I don't want to be friends with someone who treats humans this way. That's as simple as that.
It's called holding your friends accountable if they're going to be in your life. That's really where a boundary, and what the whole thing Katie kept saying about boundaries, and Lala said this too. If you're not going to respect the boundaries, there's a consequence to no friendship. And, am I my friend's accountability police? No. But if you're going to try and if you're trying to have me be complicit in something you're doing that's wrong, or if I'm seeing you do something that I'm like, baby, that's not the way we do things. I'm going to have to say, look, I don't agree with this if I feel like really the need, but like that's what a real friend does. They push you to go, okay, this isn't how, this is not okay. And you're right. He should have been saying,
He didn't, and he still hasn't. I mean, the reunion part 1 has come and gone, and he barely could just make a stance on whether he even thinks that any of this is even wrong. He just keeps saying it's fucked up. Yeah, it is, but do you actually think it's wrong? And do you not see why everyone's so mad?
Thank you. Exactly. Because then they go on to talk about the business, and I guess Lisa gave them back their investment of each. She gave a total of $100,000 back.
It's like $50,000 to her. That's not a
yeah, to them that's everything, but to me that's and then it's brought up about people writing Team Ariana in, because Andy was asking about like the business, how it was doing, and in the bathroom it said like Team Ariana, and then another one was written in lipstick like fuck Tom, and Schwartz goes. He points at his thumb at Sandoval. He's like, that Tom. It was that Tom that they were.
Yeah. Just so we're clear.
Schwartz. Honestly, I think it was both of you, because they would have said fuck Sandoval. Okay.
Probably.
They already, unless they ran out of lipstick.
Probably. I mean, honestly, at this point, I think everyone's pissed off at Schwartz. Not at the same level as Sandoval, but they're still pissed at him enough to be like, fuck off.
Right. So we get into Ariana, if she's going to keep her friendship with Lisa. And I mean, hold your boundaries, girl. She said, we just won't be as close. Mm-hmm. And that's fair. But this is where, again, we get our Beverly Hills Lisa. We get our housewife. well, hold on a second. What do you expect me to do? I don't expect anything of anybody. And, and she said, what you, I've been close to you and supporting you, and I love you very much. And he owns 5%. You're going to, okay. That's 5%. It's real important to her. And she's, basically it was like,
it's not about the
No.
restaurant. It's about the show, and she doesn't want. Obviously, she's coming at it from a producer's mind, and she's not being. She's playing both sides of the fence because she has to. But then don't be at the reunion.
no, then don't
Don't be at the
don't be
reunion
part of it. You're
because
right.
you can't clearly be a neutral space in the situation because you're thinking with your producer mind, not a cast member.
Exactly. You're right. That's it. Because Ariana just says, look, I'm just not going to confide in her as much. And then, it's like, what do you think she should pull out of her business in TomTom? And no, I think she knows what's best for her. And I did understand in that moment why Lisa asked her this, like, well, what's that? And well, I'm not going to be someone who's giving business advice to Lisa. Like, and it's Ariana just basically said, I will support in anything you do. That's just not basically going to be one of the places I go to. Like, pretty simple. I don't know why. I don't know. It's, yeah. So, I lost my place. Hold up. Excuse me. Wrong page. Whoops. Okay. So, they're going to be opening something about her very soon. And I mean, it was very exciting to, see that they're hopefully soon. They said end of May, and that's where we are. So I'm going to guess they're probably looking at July just to be safe. But I mean, if they're picking up cameras probably around July again, I think that's when. And it comes out that basically, we go through Lala and Sheena's new friendship and all of that. And, I guess the line for Katie, I don't know why Andy, I don't think this was the line, but okay. When Sheena had Schwartz on her podcast, I think it was more than just that the line happened. I think she must have gathered there. I'm trying to remember now. It feels like 4 years ago.
I know.
We're all tired. That I think that's when we'd already been hearing that Sheena was encouraging Rachel to pursue something with Schwartz. And that to me, I'm sorry, I don't care. Like, if we're broken up, if you are supposed to be my friend and you already know, like, I don't really want this happening, and it's been said to you, and even if I in a drunken moment said, like, oh yeah, I mean, sure, I'd ship that, whatever, like, just don't do that. Don't encourage someone in our friend group to go for my ex-husband. You're not a friend, okay? Unless I say, no, I'll do it myself. No.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been happy about that whatsoever, and I don't care what the situation is. But we all know my stance on friends being that close to anybody's man in the first place. So
Period. Sheena really tried to say she understood, where she empathized more with Katie watching it back, and I wanted to see Katie accept this apology more. I don't think we've seen this version of Sheena before either. We're seeing different versions of everybody. Katie needed to realize, like, this was a huge life-changing moment for Sheena. It doesn't have to be the divorce. It doesn't have to be because of a romantic thing happening. It doesn't have to be something like that for something to drastically change you as a person. And I would like to see her take that in more. But listen, I loved that you were right. Lala was there as a housewife. Because when Sheena said, and I did understand that this is what was happening with Sheena. I think we all clocked this, that Sheena was standing up for Rachel so much because she empathized with that, with how, she felt like ostracized from the group, from the girls way early on. And, Lala said, can I say something? The word bully, we ain't teaching pre-K here. This is fucking Bravo. We all signed up for it. And ain't nobody bullying anybody. And then Sandoval, like, Jesus, bullying is not an age thing. You are a bully. And then I just love the way she looked at him and went, please fuck off, Mr. I fucked my friend behind my partner's back. Okay, is that a get out of jail free card for everything? No, it's called I don't give a fuck what you have to say, because I think you're a piece of shit.
Today it is.
Yeah.
Today it is.
Thank you.
That's what we're here to talk about. So yeah, I'm going to use it a lot.
Yes. And then she goes, you both have always triggered me, and now I know why. And here it is.
You used her as a scapegoat and an excuse to not show up to half of Sheena's wedding events. You used Raquel as a scapegoat not to show up.
And I didn't cover this part earlier, but Schwartz said,
I'm not going to use Sandoval as the scapegoat for
why our restaurant or bar, it was supposed to be a dive bar, why the bar didn't open when it was supposed to. Well, yeah, okay. And Lala says, no, I'm looking at Raquel and I'm going, I sniffed you a mile away the second you stepped in here. I knew you were capable of this shit. You move like a snake. And you see Rachel in her trailer rolling her little, and Sandoval goes,
takes one to know one.
Oh my God. And the way Lala's brain moved from his childish response
of takes one to know one.
All right, well, you know what? Your mama told you sticks and stones. My words may hurt you, but I'm not banging your man behind your back. And then this was like, it was very confusing to watch and take notes on this. I'm not going to lie. Because here, Sandoval is saying to her that basically because Lisa goes, I'm sorry. Bear with me. I just lost my place, and it's been a long 48 hours. Also, it scared me a little bit. Lala reminded me of Lisa Rinna whenever she was saying, sticks and stones, baby. I was like, no, don't do it. Don't go to the Rinna side. There it was. Sorry. Sandoval says to Lala, you have. And I had to rewind it twice. And it's like, he was trying to say you have been banging someone's, and he was referring to, I think, James. So, yeah. And that, I know, this part was so confusing. My brain has just kind of like shriveled in. And Lisa ends up saying to Lala, well, that you've admitted to saying, like, you have been aggressive with Rachel in the past. And, now that you know what you know, you've copped to that. And then, of course, Sandoval jumps in. You have been, and accountability. And Lala's like, yeah, you have the balls to say accountability to Katie. Lala, Katie, share your life more. And they're all booing and all of this. And Sandoval's like, I know that. I'm taking accountability. You are not. And for what? Sandoval yells out, I fart Mozart, everybody. Did she say that at some point? Has Lala said that? I don't remember ever hearing her say that.
I don't think so.
I was like, what the fuck does that mean?
I think that would have been a meme if that was the case. Somebody would have. Yeah, that would be floating around. It wouldn't be He made a lot of shit up, though.
Wasn't that weird of him to say? He didn't get it.
He was in a low place. He was just grasping at straws.
Yeah. And Lala and James are like, Lala first is like, you're sticking up for Tom too much. And James is like, you've got to stop. And I've got to stop. Yeah, and they're both like, you're sticking up for him too much.
She's being reasonable.
Okay. And James is like, oh, reasonable? Okay, that's not fucking true. And he gets up and leaves again. And then we end with Rachel rolling her eyes in her trailer. This was a long one, guys. I'm sorry. Our eyes are dilated. We're bleary-eyed. We're like, where am I? I've held Georgio hostage for a very long time. I know he's melting into his chair too because we're both just like.
It's just it was a lot of stuff for a part one. Usually we ease into this shit, and it was just like
that's it right
throttle.
there. I felt crazy because I thought, oh, the reunion will be easier to take notes on. No, Caitlin, no,
not at all.
No, honey, you're not good. Wow, Of course, I'm going to be watching like the moment it airs, but I mean, it's like to be able to watch the uncensored. Why didn't we? This was the perfect timing to do it. I mean, it's like it doesn't.
They're going to have to keep this up now. I'm saying.
Oh God, Georgio, do you have any final thoughts on part one?
Stay hydrated, folks. We're not done with this yet. We need to get our rest. Wear SPF and don't sleep with your friend's man. Let's keep it simple.
You know what? I think that's the best way to close it. That is. Now, friends, I think I'm joining Giorgio's podcast next
Yes.
week,
Yep.
where I will not hold him hostage for 2.5 hours.
I will be holding you hostage.
Yeah,
Because I'm
right?
sure part 2 is going to be even crazier if that was part 1.
Oh my god. Oh my god. How like when I mean, yeah. I'm almost like we need this Memorial Day weekend to, again, just like you said, SPF cover up, but
Yep.
go get the type of vitamin D that comes from outdoors. Not this type of vitamin D we've been talking about. That's less of a vitamin, more of a yeah. We all need to take our break here.
Yeah, I think the Bravo community is exhausted the last week with the New Jersey, the Teresa's getting married, and then this reunion, uncensored, extended. Like,
Yeah.
it's just been a lot on our souls. And so I think we all deserve a pat on the back
Yeah.
for keeping up with the recaps, because it's been a lot. Who do I
It's
talk
been so
about?
much.
Between Kim and Croy,
Oh my god.
the Teresa versus Melissa, Scandival.
We're gonna get through it, and then
We
we're gonna be
will.
like, what are we gonna do when it's over?
One
Giorgio,
recap at a time.
I adore you. Thank you so much for joining me and being so
you.
patient with my long ass recap. And friends, go follow Giorgio on all the platforms. It's at Giorgio Says, and he has a podcast as well at Giorgio, or his podcast is Giorgio Says. Oh my god, you guys.
It's all Giorgio says. Just type it in everywhere.
There you go. That's a smarter way to say it. YouTube, please leave a review. It's so helpful. And make it 5-star. Does it ruin your day to leave me a 5-star review if you don't like me? No. So, thank you for joining, friends, and I will see you again very soon.